So my name is Grace Hahn, and I am a filmmaker based in Chicago, and I produced Houses the World, among a lot of other scrappy things.
My name is Troy. I'm mainly an editor based in Chicago. I did like post-production supervision for Houses the World and some additional visual effects.
Basically, Troy saved our butts.
I'm Sadie Rogers, writer, director, little bit of actor in Houses the World.
I'm Hunter Bryant. I am an actor currently based in Brooklyn, and I played Raj in Houses the World.
I played Zoe, the AI.
I think I started out wanting to write something gritty and dark about what it is. Are you alive or not if you're created in this other world? Like mainly it was more about like this AI. Like if there's these AIs that are girlfriends or sex workers or whatever they may be, are they real? Don't they become real once they're real to us? Aren't they real? And what is that? Kind of like a Battlestar Galactica theme going on there. Like what is reality and who's the maker really, and when does the cycle end, kind of thing. And then I started working on the script, and it was a much, you know how sometimes you sit down to write something and it ends up being a little bit different. It ended up being a much softer, gentler look at teenage romance. And I think that the character of Raj kind of came out of just having watched parents, including my own, search for their sons in different ways due to different types of addiction, whether it be drugs or video games or whatever. So it was sort of a weird metaphor for that mixed with a what happens to AIs. So in a weird way, it was kind of a culmination of two very different themes. And it did end up being softer and more loving than I had originally intended. I got this amazing production designer and costume designer that were like so brilliant. And I mean, I can't, Kate Group's work on the costumes and Amanda Brenton's work on the set. They basically, I kind of gave them the ballroom scene from Labyrinth mixed with the opening scene from, what's that Tom Cruise movie, Legend? And I was like, oh, it needs to feel like this. And it's like, and then I was like, with a little bit of cyberpunk-esque, like William Gibson vibes going through it. And then, you know, we had a small budget. So I was like, work with that. And they totally did. And they literally just, the locations mixed with their visions, it became that. They're amazing.
Yeah, I think with short film production here in Chicago, a lot of stuff in really beautiful ways, if you manifest it, falls into your lap. So I think what those things that Sadie's describing, incredibly scrappy crew. We really, for this, had a sizable budget to some and a minuscule budget to some others. So I think to make a sci-fi dystopian short film that we could sell as sci-fi and dystopian, we did pretty good with the small amount of money that we had. But those things that kind of fall into your lap and you put your best energy forward, you can get that incredible location that we have for the like ballroom scene. We have choreographers who are willing to work with us for less money to just make something really aesthetically awesome, which I just talked to Maureen the other day, and she's so excited about us screening in Dayton and a couple other places coming up. And amazing crew. Ian Mora, who shot it, he's like incredible. He has a vision like no other. And Amanda and Kate, who Sadie mentioned, and Rob, who does our sound and did our sound design. It really comes together in kind of a magical way. And I think with this project, it's like a little extra special when, you know, that comes out in the magic that you see in the world. Like, it looked like kind of easy, I think. Looking back on it now, watching the film, it's like, was it that easy?
Yeah, and the Tiki Lounge is my guitarist bought a house with a fully equipped Tiki Lounge that came with it. So that whole set I just had available to me, which is a miracle. And the beautiful ballroom scene set, I had seen, my buddy Eric Hoff had done this art installation thing with a bunch of Chicago artists in that room, in that space where they had this tree descend from the ceiling and all this crazy stuff happened. And I think I had just met Grace around that time and had been telling her about the script. So it was always in the back of my head, like, to use that space somehow, because it has no windows and it's creepy and strange. And there's, you know, I don't know. What do you think, Troy?
Yeah, no, I really like, one of the things I love about Sadie is she has like, yeah, she has these huge references and thematic, but she's also very focused on textural detail. And I think that really worked well with the subtlety of the performances. Like, she'd be very specific about like the glitches we'd put in each scene, or even during the ballroom scene, she'd find these small emotional visual beats in terms of when the bubble should bisect the screen, when the bubble should fall. So that was just really amazing working with Sadie there. Sadie and Grace were good because they had both planned somewhat for the visual effects beforehand during the shoot, so it incorporated a lot of stuff. So mainly it was like, I guess the first thing is like, I came in on the onto visual effects a little later, but I'd worked with Sadie a little bit on the Kickstarter video and kind of gotten an idea there of her approach to like aesthetics and visual effects. And so it was really fun, just like, I guess, like, yeah, learning was like realizing, oh, like the visual effects can be subtle and kind of go on along with the rest of the aesthetic of the film. It doesn't have to be in a big explosion or anything like that. So it was really, after getting the framework, just doing a lot of detail work, and I guess, like, yeah, watching the film over and over again and just trying to line up trying to make it seamless there.
He did it in like a week too.
I'll jump in and say too that like there were definitely obstacles. Like, it was one huge obstacle doing VFX because I don't have any background in this. Sadie didn't have any extensive background in executing it. Mainly just knowing the people and like what does it take and what does it take while filming. So we had some excellent consulting and some pre-VFX work done by John Sawyer. And then when he ended up getting a ton of work and having to table How's This the World, we went over to Troy and we were like, so we have this framework that he put together and we have these starter files. Can you hodgepodge a way to make it look in all like it's like the way that it should fit? And like, incredibly, he did that, which I still think is amazing, and in like a week before our festival premiere. So it was one huge obstacle and something that we learned a lot about the process of carrying something like that out.
It was definitely an experience. I mean, working with Raven was great. We've known each other for years, even before the film. So immediately on set, there was that aspect of, I don't know, trust and chemistry in the film, which I feel like really translated and made the process easy. Well, also, in such a technological world, having so much that was organic and off screen and being able to speak non-verbally really, I don't know, it lended that softness that Sadie was talking about earlier. And that humanity that's underneath the surface in, like, I don't know, this cyberpunk world.
I love nonverbal action. I thought, I don't know, it's just, it takes the pressure off from like the preparation sort of, so you can come and just totally be and just totally feel into the environment and sensorial work, which I'm so into. Like, I remember specifically that scene in the woods where we're having a tender moment, physical moment, and I'm glitching in and out. And I think this is maybe the first time that we physically connect. And it was just so much fun and unexpected.
If anything, the only thing I kept telling myself in my head is don't be too big, because I'm such a theater actor. And that's the one thing. And then with the ballroom scenes, I had to trust Eon a lot with the shots of me, because running off a stage and back and off a stage and back would have been very difficult. But Eon has shot almost everything I've made, and he knows what I want, and we're really close friends. So I just kind of like, would set up the shot with him and then pop up there and do it. And then as far as the song part, that part was actually, it was kind of, felt a little vulnerable shooting it, because I was like lip singing in front of all of my crew and cast. But the song itself, we had wanted this Chelsea Wolfe song, and my friend was like, we were having coffee, and he's like, F that, just write your own song. So I wrote it last minute, and because I'd written it, I think that helped me be super connected to it a little bit more. And then I was like, when you like buy a product and everybody's like, oh, why did you buy that? You could have had that. And you're like, no, this is the best. And you wear it all the time. It's kind of that feeling, like you make it. I was determined to make it the best. I wrote it on the piano, and then I got my friend Carolyn O'Neill, who has worked with me a couple times. She's a composer and a performer. I got her to compose the like larger sonic sounds, and then I used my drummer from my band and a recording artist at Decade Studio. So basically just a group of friends to come in, and I like told them how I wanted the drum beat to sound. So it was very, I think that's what makes me so tied to that scene. It's very special now, because I had always wanted this one song by Chelsea Wolfe. It inspired that scene, but this show, The 100, was using it. That was like a hit show at the time, which I happen to love. But they used it in a pivotal scene. So now Chelsea Wolfe's gone from like, I mean, I'm not going to be able to afford if it's on TV, like, and sure enough, when they wrote us back, the price they wanted was a little high for a short film. So, yeah.
I AD'd the movie too, and I had a production manager who I was like, you can just be like the acting producer on set. And that was like definitely not enough people, but we couldn't afford to hire anyone else. So I remember that day being wildly hectic, and I remember running around and up and down the stairs of that building. There's like this building that was only like 4 blocks away from my apartment, but like looks like another universe completely. And I remember just trying to keep track of people, and Javi was super late for the dance scene, but like showed up the last second, and Javi's like gorgeous and amazing. So we were like, we have to wait. They were dancing in the next room, rehearsing. Tiffany Anderson was doing makeup. Everyone's insanely gorgeous makeup, like in the room while Amanda's setting up all these towers. And I remember it being like as hectic as it kind of looks, but in like a very cool way.
There's some great behind the scenes photos of that day, and I'm in that horrible bodysuit the whole day, which is just, something I did to myself, which looks so cool in the movie, but like I wouldn't recommend it for a night out. I think that day was exciting because we had limited time, and we had this amazing group of people that were basically a bunch of Grace's friends and my friends and a couple of other people's friends that were volunteering their time to be in this scene. So it was really special and intimate because of that. We didn't have, I think I had hoped for like a larger group of people. So there was something about it being so small that also made it more special and lended again to that gentleness that this short had. But some special stuff happened that day. Like, I don't know, for some reason, Raven and I decided, there was this cool thing she kept doing, like, just with her beautiful, like, punk rock, like, Judy Garland eyes, like, looking at the camera. And I was like, we need more of that. And then you started, like, so we were, like, having you look at the camera all the time, and it was so cool.
I remember that day being very special because, well, I think it was, like, one of my first films ever. No, it was my first film ever. The relationship that I that we all kind of had with the camera, the way this movie was shot, back to the minimal dialogue. That was just very, very special and always something to lean on. I was so relieved that we decided to have that kind of close up, the way that Eon shot it. It's just like another part of the dance, and that was so lovely.
I want to go back to what Sadie was saying, that some of those costumes are not meant for a night out. I remember we couldn't do some of the moves because Raven's sleeves, like those up on the plastic, were way too big and getting in the way.
Yeah.
And I couldn't lift up my arms past a certain point because of the cups on that jacket.
I just know that when I saw Raven in that purple dress with those sleeves, I was like, this. I mean, we had talked about the looks, and it was just the coolest thing ever. I mean, it was like it was like some sort of like Cinderella video game or something.
Kate the Blessing was like, I will design all of this for you, but I also have another gig, so I might not be on set all the time. So sometimes she was on set when she could be, and she brought her assistants, who are also very special people that we work with all the time, and they would fill in whatever whoever we needed to rush into their ballroom outfit, which all of them were like a task, I'm sure, to get in. And she, like, it feels like most of the other elements of the short, it feels very effortless, but it's really just a testament to her talent and her vision and the way that her and Sadie work together.
The other thing that I think is very obvious to say is that who you cast is what makes your movie, and like, I could not have been luckier with these 4 leads. I worship them. I just think they're so precious, and like the way that first entrance that Raj and Zoe do, there's kind of like this, like, there's like something in their posture or their movement that's sort of like tale as old as time, that kind of, and then it like very strangely, like, it was just like so great. So I feel really lucky across the board with everyone that was cast in this, and I was feeling that on set a lot because they were so strong. Grace and I are in talks and early prep for a feature film called Heart of the Trepid, and it's a movie about a group of people in their early 40s reconvening to take up a 17-year-old Dungeons and Dragons campaign at the behest of their recently deceased friend. And it's loosely inspired by a short film I shot years ago, and it's getting a lot of hype. It's doing really well, and my heart, I'm like, we're basically having a baby, and it's a movie.
That short film, I don't know who's going to be watching this, but if anyone wants to watch more of Sadie's stuff, Google RPG Sadie Rogers, because that's the short film that is like the heart of this movie, this feature film that we're going to make, which is going to have, I think, some of the intimacy of that short and some of the epicness of How's This the World, which is pretty cool and exciting. And I mean, I think that just shows how much we're growing and learning. And if people are interested in the project, they should also like Google Heart of the Trepid Instagram and things of that nature, and follow us and talk to me about it, because it's already becoming kind of a family affair of just people that we know and who are either showing interest or just keeping tabs on the project itself. So that, for me, since COVID, I haven't been working on set. Production is basically dead for the time being, but I've been lucky enough to work in development on a number of features. The furthest along of which is probably Heart of the Trepid.
Yeah, that's what I want to say. I really love Sadie's Heart of the Trepid script. So excited for that. And I guess I've been kind of finishing up. I edited this feature for this director Olivia piece. So we're kind of finishing up that. The film's playing at Outfest right now, or just started. But yeah, so just like finishing kind of final sound mixing for that, and just like final things for that. So that's been fun. And then otherwise just working on a couple shorts, and one that Grace is helping produce, Phil, that we're hopefully finishing soon.
And he's working on Heart of the Trek.
Yeah, he's going to be our post producer, which means he's going to be just as vital as he was to How Is This World.
A year ago, I actually made the move to LA. I miss Chicago so much, but LA seemed like a good place to be at the time. Actually, right now, in the moment, I'm back in North Carolina, where I'm from with my family, but planning to go back September 1st. So I was just sort of, I had just signed with a new agent. I've had the same manager from LA for a couple years. So I've just been kind of finding my bearings and like making introductions, going to generals, establishing in LA. I had just done a little co-star on a new TV show right before everything hit.
I am, like I said, I'm currently living in Brooklyn as of a month, moving away from Chicago. I had plans to move out here before COVID hit to do some work behind the camera, actually, to work with, to start work in some casting and as a production assistant on a couple sets. But since COVID hit, I've been reaching out, expanding my network, talking to the New York branch of my agency. I've been doing a lot of voiceover work, actually, which has been fun. I currently can't say anything, but about to do some work for some cartoons, which is going to be fun.